I could say that it's not a wreck, it's something that looks very odd. Then we start measuring it and saw that it's nearly 60 meters in diameter.
For many years, the Baltic Sea Anomaly has confused scientists, divers, and curious people all over the world. Found deep under the cold, icy water, this strange, perfectly round object led to many guesses. Was it a crashed UFO, a hidden part of Atlantis, or something even scarier? Now, experts say they have finally figured out what it is, and the truth is far weirder and more frightening than anyone expected. What really lies beneath the Baltic Sea? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The terrifying truth from the solved anomaly of the Baltic Sea. In June 2011, a Swedish exploration group working with the company OceanX made an unusual discovery on the floor of the Baltic Sea. The team was led by marine explorers Peter Lindberg and Dennis Asberg. Their mission at the time was simple. They were scanning the seafloor with sonar while searching for old shipwrecks. The Baltic Sea is known for having many wrecks because ships have sailed through the area for hundreds of years. Many vessels sank there during wars, trade journeys, and accidents. Because of this long history, the OceanX team expected that any strong sonar signal would probably lead them to another wreck. However, during one scan, the sonar screen showed something very different. Instead of the usual shape of a broken ship, the image showed a large round object resting on the seabed. The team noticed that the object looked like a disc. It appeared to be about 60 meters across and was located around 90 meters below the surface of the water. What surprised the crew the most was the shape of the edges. The lines around the object looked very sharp and clear. Normally, objects that stay underwater for a long time become worn down by currents, sand, and other natural forces. Their edges usually become smooth and rounded, but the lines on this object look straight and well-defined. Another strange detail appeared in the sonar image behind the object. The scan showed a long trench carved into the ocean floor. This trench stretched for about 300 meters and pointed directly toward the object. Members of the team described it as a deep mark in the seabed with piles of sand and sediment pushed to the sides. The mark gave the impression that something heavy had moved across the seafloor before stopping suddenly where the object now sat. The OceanX team later returned to the location with better equipment. They wanted to collect clearer images and more detailed data about the structure. During this second trip, the crew reported another unusual event. When their vessel moved close to the object, many of their electronic systems suddenly stopped working. According to the report, satellite phones lost signal, navigation systems shut down, and sonar equipment stopped giving clear readings. When the ship moved farther away from the object, the equipment began working again. The crew tested this situation several times. Each time the ship moved within about 200 meters of the object, the electronic devices stopped working. When the vessel moved outside that distance, the systems returned to normal. Because of this repeated pattern, the crew started calling the area around the structure a dead zone. Since cameras alone were not enough to study the object clearly, the team decided to send down a remotely operated vehicle first. The underwater robot carried lights and cameras so the crew could see what was on the seabed. However, the deep water was very dark and filled with tiny particles floating in the water. These particles scattered the light, making it hard to see far. The cameras only showed small parts of the surface at a time. Now, the biggest question still remained. What would the divers discover when they finally went down and saw the object up close? Stay tuned for more. Diving deeper into the Baltic Sea. Mystery. Later, divers went down to look at the object themselves. One of the divers, Stefan Hogeborn, reported seeing shapes that seemed unusual for a natural rock formation. According to the account, some parts of the structure appeared to form straight walls that rose from the seabed. In other places, two surfaces met at angles that looked close to 90 degrees. The diver also noticed narrow spaces that looked a bit like corridors formed between flat surfaces. Another feature described in the report was a round hole located on the top part of the object. The hole seemed to sit inside a square-shaped frame that rose slightly above the surrounding surface. This shape created the appearance of a circle placed neatly within a square. Divers also said the surface of the object looked dark and burned in some areas, with cracks running across it. To understand the material better, small samples were taken from the object and sent to a laboratory for study. The analysis was done by geologists, including researcher Volker Bruchert from Stockholm University. According to the lab results mentioned in the report, the samples were identified as basalt. Basalt is a type of rock that forms when molten lava cools and becomes solid. This result caused some confusion because the Baltic Sea region is known for being geologically stable. There are no active volcanoes in that area today. Because of this, scientists found it difficult to explain how volcanic rock could appear in that exact place. Some researchers considered whether the rock might have arrived through another natural event, such as a meteorite impact or a glacial movement during the Ice Age. The discovery later became widely known as the Baltic Sea Anomaly. Over time, the object attracted attention from scientists, divers, and the public. Some members of the Ocean X team suggested that the structure might be what they called a corpse of technology. By this phrase, they meant that the object could be the remains of some kind of ancient structure that had changed over time and eventually turned into stone. Even with these ideas, the true origin of the object is still uncertain. Many geologists believe the formation may simply be a natural feature created by glacial activity during the last ice age. According to that explanation, ice movement and pressure could have shaped and moved rocks across the seabed long ago. Today, the Baltic Sea Anomaly continues to be discussed and studied. Researchers still examine sonar images, dive reports, and rock samples in hopes of understanding what the structure really is. Until stronger evidence appears, the object remains one of the most debated underwater discoveries in modern exploration. So what mysteries lie beneath the Baltic Sea Anomaly, and what theories and challenges surround this enigmatic discovery? Let's delve deeper. Background, theories, and challenges surrounding the Baltic Sea Anomaly. The two Swedish undersea explorers, Peter Lindberg and Dennis Asberg, were seasoned treasure seekers with years of experience looking for lost shipwrecks and priceless historical artifacts in the ocean. Before this finding, Peter Lindberg was already famous in the field of undersea searches. Finding the Jönköping wreck was one of his most well-known successes. Many years before, the ship had sunk while moving a huge quantity of champagne. Even after sinking for nearly a century, many of the bottles were still in fine shape when the wreck was finally found. The recovered champagne was sold at auction after gaining notice on a global scale. Lindberg's expertise as a professional wreck diver and explorer was validated by this discovery. Following this success, Lindberg and Asberg formed the Ocean X team, an exploration team. The group focused on looking underwater for shipwrecks and other rare items. They searched the ocean floor using tools like underwater robots and sonar scanners. The strange item in the Baltic Sea soon gained world notice after it was made public. Many people began guessing about what the item might be after seeing a round shape on the seafloor in the sonar photographs. Some people thought the shape might have something to do with alien technology because it looked like a flying saucer. This theory suggested that the object might be a crashed alien spacecraft resting at the bottom of the sea. Others thought it might have been constructed by humans. Some suggested it might be the remnants of a ship, a military structure, or the base of an old lighthouse. However, there was no clear historical record that immediately supported these theories. Without strong evidence, it was difficult to confirm whether the structure had been built by humans. Still, another theory was that it was just a natural rock formation. Sonar images of underwater geological structures can occasionally give the impression that they are artificial, even though they are not. A number of theories also emerged as public curiosity grew. Some said that the item might have something to do with the fabled lost city of Atlantis. Dramatic theories were put out by others, such as the idea that the structure might be a part of an unidentified undersea complex or a strange hidden system. Although these theories gained fame online, there was no scientific proof to back them up. The Ocean X team made the decision to plan a new mission to look into the object about a year after it was found. It took a lot of money and careful planning to plan such a mission. The mission was expected to cost roughly £120,000 in total. The mission was very costly to run a research vessel, pay staff, and maintain equipment. The team had a limited amount of time to do their work because each day at sea cost more than £20,000. The explorers had to carefully arrange their journey due to this hefty cost. They set up diving gear, underwater robots, and sonar equipment so they could examine the thing on the seafloor. The mission did, however, encounter a number of difficulties. The weather was one of the main issues. The team found it challenging to carry out their search efforts due to severe weather in the area. They had to postpone various aspects of their study due to the rough sea conditions that hindered their work. The team was also worried about keeping the object's location a secret. Because the discovery had already gained public attention, the explorers worried that other groups might try to reach the site before they finished their work. For this reason, they tried to protect the exact coordinates of the object while the search was taking place. During the mission, the team also noticed a Swedish Navy vessel operating in the same area. This situation caused some concern among the explorers as they were unsure why the naval ship was nearby. Although the reason for its presence was never clearly explained, it added more tension to an already challenging task. As researchers and observers continued to discuss the discovery, many different explanations were suggested. Some people compared the structure to the Yonaguni Monument, an unusual underwater formation that some believe may have been shaped by ancient human activity. Others believe the object might be similar to the Novgorod, a historical ship that had a round design. Another theory linked the object to the rumored Nazi flying saucer known as the Haunebu. However, historians generally consider these claims to be based on myth rather than confirmed historical facts. More practical explanations were also suggested. Some researchers believed the object could be the base of a lighthouse or a large industrial structure that had been left on the seafloor. Others thought it might be a piece of underwater equipment used in past construction work. If the Baltic Sea Anomaly left us with more questions than answers in the depths, what other remarkable mysteries and unusual phenomena lie hidden beneath the waves? Let's find out the shocking mysteries beneath the waves. There are places in the world that seem to hold secrets that make people stop and wonder. One of these places is off the southern tip of Japan, where something unusual lies beneath the water. In 1986, a local diver was looking for new places to dive, places where tourists could explore safely. But then he noticed something that was not like the rest of the seafloor. He saw large steps that looked like a pyramid, very big steps, like someone had built them. At first, he thought he might have found a city lost under the waves, a city like the ones in old stories, like Atlantis, which people say disappeared long ago. These steps were not alone. Around them, there were shapes that looked like castles, and even something like a stadium. Roads seemed to connect them, and there were large walls around the area. Some of the rocks had marks on them. Some looked like faces. Some were shaped like animals. It made people think maybe humans had been here a very long time ago. But not everyone agreed. Some scientists said, no, these rocks are not perfectly shaped. They are solid rock. Maybe it is just nature, just how water and ice and time made them. Even with all the disagreement, people keep studying the place. They want to know if it was really a lost civilization or just nature playing tricks. Far away in northeastern Thailand, there is another strange place. It is called Three Whale Rock. The rock sticks out of the mountains and forest. From far away, it looks like three whales swimming together. People say it is very old, millions of years old. A long time ago, this land was a desert, but over time, the Mekong River and the movement of the earth, called plate tectonics, changed it. The sandstone mountains rose and eroded, making strange shapes that still stand today. People can hike here, they can follow trails through forests, see waterfalls, and look at all the plants and animals. From the top of the rocks, they can see the beaches, the mountains, and the forests, stretching far in every direction. It is a place that shows both the power of nature and the history of the earth. Both the Yonaguni Formation and Three Whale Rock show that the world has many mysteries. Some are hidden under the water, and some rise above the ground. Some look like they were made by humans, and some were shaped by the earth itself over millions of years. Scientists, explorers, and curious people are drawn to these places. They study them slowly, piece by piece, trying to understand the secrets they hold. They take their time, they look carefully. And even when answers are hard to find, the wonder is in the search itself. If the Baltic Sea Anomaly hints at hidden secrets beneath the water, what theories, challenges, and explanations might help us understand its true nature? Let's learn more. Strange phenomena and ancient human ingenuity. The world is full of unusual things that make people pause and think. One of these things is the Voynich manuscript. It was found in 1912, and no one knows how to read it. The words look like a strange code or a language no one knows. The pages are full of pictures. Some pictures are of strange objects. Some are of stars and zodiac signs. There are pictures of plants, but none of these plants are known on Earth. Scientists have tried to read it. They have tried to understand it. Some letters may have meaning, but mostly it is still a mystery. People study it slowly. They look at every detail. They wonder what secrets it might hold. Above the Earth, there are also strange things happening. High in the sky, far above the clouds, are jellyfish lightning sprites. They are not normal lightning. They are high in the mesosphere, 30 to 50 miles above the ground. They balance the electricity between storm clouds and the Earth. Sometimes they appear red because of the nitrogen in the air. They are difficult to see. Lights from cities make them almost invisible, yet they are real, and scientists watch them carefully to understand how they work. On the ground, unusual weather can also create rare sights. In Michigan, there are ghost apples. When it is very cold, rain freezes on apples while they are still on the tree. Later, the apples thaw and leak out, leaving only the ice shell behind. These are very rare. They happen only when everything is just right. Cold temperatures, rain, and timing. People call them ghost apples because they look empty and frozen. There are also human-made monuments that show both history and cleverness. The Gateway Arch in St. Louis is very tall, 630 feet high and wide. It was built to withstand wind and earthquakes. It can move slightly in strong winds. Inside, a time capsule holds the stories of over 700,000 people. It is a place that connects people to history while standing as a strong, tall structure against time and weather. Snow-covered mountains also hold rare natural events. Snow rollers are rings of snow that form when wind pushes damp snow over ice. They roll like a snowball down a hill. They can be very small or very big, depending on the wind. They are light and delicate, and they do not last long. People who see them are lucky because these rings disappear quickly. Some discoveries show the incredible skill of humans long ago. The Antikythera mechanism, found in a shipwreck in Greece, is over 2,000 years old. It is a machine that tracks stars, the moon, eclipses, and even the Olympic Games. Nothing like it appeared again until the 14th century, when European clocks were built. It shows that humans long ago could create amazing and complex machines. Finally, ancient structures in Turkey suggest some of the oldest known human constructions, over 10,000 years old. Large stone pillars, some carved like humans or animals, were used for social and ritual purposes. Rectangular buildings show that these early communities were the beginning of modern civilization. They remind us that humans have been building and thinking in clever ways for thousands of years. Together, these discoveries, from strange books to rare weather, from monuments to ancient machines, show the wonder and mystery of our world. People continue to study them carefully, slowly, always searching for more understanding. What do you think about the Baltic Sea Anomaly? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for joining us as we dived into the mysteries, theories, and challenges surrounding the Baltic Sea Anomaly. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating explorations like this. Click the next video on your screen to watch more stories. See you there.